Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of a chit chat with my mom. Now, if you're not aware of who she is, her name is Wendy Cicchetti and is one of the top astrologers in the world, world renowned. Basically, she's a badass. And what I love is these chats. It's kind of just give you guys an update and fill you in on kind of what's happening right now. What are the energies? What's also great is if you ever have any questions or you have something burning that you want to know, always write it in the chat so that when we do the next episode, we can answer those questions. So really quick before we dive into what the hell be going on right now, just make sure that you like and subscribe. You can follow her on all of the links are here below. You can follow her on Instagram and Facebook. You can also join her in her, you can follow her newsletter. She has a celestial update that comes out every month, which is super helpful, just letting you know what energies are happening in a month. And also she has a new subscription program where you guys get to meet up once a month and you go through a personal, private couple-hour powwow of really what's going on and being able to ask in-depth questions. But even better than that, because these chats are more about like what's happening in the world and how's it impacting us as people as a whole unit, as the whole earth, what's going on globally, how are we all being impacted. But the real power and where you really gain the most information is when you do a life reading. And this is a beautiful, literally a couple of hours intimate with my mom, going into the depths of your personal chart and what that looks like for you. And I have found, and many people watching this and many of my friends all around the world now have my mom as her, in fact, they talk to her more than I do. I gotta call your mom. I gotta call your mom. It's because the information that she provides for you through these charts. If you've never had one done, this is what I think, like some people are a little leery about astrology and all of this stuff, but the fact of the matter is, and I was too, my mom will attest to this, that for several years, I was like, oh, my mom's whacking it, whatever. But at the end of the day, when I really started to think about it, the logic of it came to me that it was like, wait a minute, if the moon can literally shift the ocean waters, the satellite that's, orbiting our planet, how do these and that affects our body because we're like 90 some odd % water. How's that affecting us as an individual? But then also these massive, we're part of a big system. So obviously all of this has got to have some impact. But what's amazing is when you find out how it impacts you personally. And then I started talking with my mom about it and the information that she was giving me and the depth of empowerment, which I find is the most important. Is it's not just the information, it's using that information to empower you, to learn more about yourself and how to move past even your weaknesses, your strengths, to overcome your weaknesses and all of these great things. So I could hype my mom all day long because I think she's and she helps people. But we've got lots of yummy things. Mom, is there any any information you want to share with them before we jump in?
I was going to say that life reading is on sale right now, and I'll have the link below. So many people are feeling a little bit lost right now with all of the world changes. And so now is a perfect time, to get a reading and find out what your gifts and your challenges are and how things look for you as you move forward. Yeah. It's very important.
Amongst all of the madness and the chaos that's happening in the world right now. And that's where we're going is, so how is the biggest thing for me, Mom, and we're just going to jump right into this, and then we'll talk a little bit more about this at the end. But me personally, I'm struggling so much with just how managing the chaos that's actually happening and just the information that's coming, and it's not all positive and it seems really heavy. And I just want to know from you what energies, globally, what's impacting us right now? What's creating this we feel that's happening right now?
Well, and anybody who has any sensitivity at all can feel the heaviness of the energies, and not only does it affect you mentally and emotionally, it affects you physically, aches and pains, insomnia, ear ringing, you can just go on and on, headaches, migraines. It's very pervasive because what we've got going on in the world is a split. Okay. 5D and 3D. And this was interesting. I heard something. I want to just tell you this because I found it I hadn't heard anybody explain it like this. It's like on the 5D side, you have love, 3D war, 5D peace, 3D suffering, 5D knowledge, 3D ignorance, 5D awakening, and 3D the matrix. Isn't that interesting? So what each one of us individually want to go to is the love, peace, knowledge, and consciousness. I put consciousness in there, and awakening. And so we're actually pulling away, and that's what's so painful, literally. We're literally creating a parallel earth in 5D away from the 3D. But the energies that are creating it have to do with Uranus and Saturn. And they've been for the last 3.5 years doing this energetic dance square. It's a square. And Saturn represents the old, Uranus represents the new. Okay. Saturn represents slavery, Uranus represents freedom. I mean, so this is the back and forth that's happening. And so what Uranus is doing is breaking up the structure of government. And it's painful. Now, the last time that this occurred in a square like this was in 1930. I wrote them down. This was before World War II. We had April of 1930, December of 1930, 7, Cancer, that's Cancer. So that would be, anyway, 7 of 1931 and October of 1931. Those were the 4 times that happened in the 30s and 31, which was the precursor to all of the changes that took place in the globe, before World War II. The actual war started in September of 1939. So this was the precursor. Now that's what we've been going through for the last 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years. The final square is on October 1st. And that's going to, and a lot of astrologers are talking about October. Oh my God, October. Yeah. That when they get exact, and they'll be exact at 18 degrees. And when they get like that, it is so powerful, and they're both retrograde, which means they're more powerful. One of the things people don't understand about retrograde, which is they appear to be going backwards, what it does, it strengthens and intensifies the energies because they are closer to the earth when they go retrograde. Okay. So right now, or as of the 9th, we will have 6 planets retrograde because Mercury goes retrograde on the 9th. And that's a whole story in and of itself. But this Uranus conjunct Saturn is hell on wheels, and we see how it's played out. And this has been going on since the whole pandemic, everything that's been happening. You've seen it all. And now people are saying we want freedom from the mandates. We want freedom from all the government intervention. And then there's that side, the 3D side, that says, no, we've got to have this, structure, and everybody needs to comply. And so we've got these two sides going on. But the interesting thing is more and more people are waking up. And so those are the main energies. Now there are side energies, and we'll be talking about some of those. There's some side energies like the Mercury retrograde, and then what's the retrograde coming up with Saturn, not Saturn, but Mars, and how that will impact everything. But it's so curious that, on any given day, the way the planets are lined up, so like Mars, which is the trigger, can be impacting Venus, or it can be impacting Pluto, or it can be impacting, Saturn or Uranus or Jupiter, just the way they're lined up. And so these next few months are going to be extraordinarily disruptive, extraordinarily revelatory. In other words, we're going to get so many revelations, so much information, explosive information that people are going to have to adjust to, that it's going to be mind-boggling to people. I really feel like there's going to be a lot of sorrow, a lot of regret that will happen. And one day, or a series of days in September that you want to watch out for, are the 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st.
Wow.
Those are days where I feel like there are going to be some really intense revelations, and it's going to take people by surprise. It's like, you got to take a deep breath in because it's so extraordinary, and then you got to take a few days to just integrate what you've just heard, what's coming out. So
I
September.
feel like I'm having to do that now.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine it becoming, I mean, I can imagine that there's even more
Well,
things. Like,
those,
are you serious right now?
yeah,
Like,
those people who listen to mainstream media don't know everything we know. Okay. They're not up on things. So if you're still listening to mainstream media, stop, because you're being blocked from knowing what's the truth of what's going on. Now, little bits are eking out, but the big stuff is on, you can find some of it on YouTube, you can find it on Rumble, you can find it on BitChute, you can find it on Telegram. And those are the ones that really have the information. Now, some of the ones I listen to that I really like are like Russell Brand. He's talking about a lot of this stuff. Jimmy Dore. I love Jimmy
like when you
Dore.
find people that are on the ground, like just, this is what's so powerful now, is that we have the ability with these little guys to record the truth and actually
Get it out there.
right? So they can be saying one thing on television, but you got 50 people with cameras going, well, we saw something different. Like,
Mhm.
and so this is, but you have to go look for that because you're not going to see it on mainstream. You're not going to see a lot of things. But yeah, so I'm the same way, like search different if you're interested.
Yeah, right.
If you want a different perspective,
And some people don't like to hear any media whatsoever. And that's fine if they get too impacted by it, because a lot of it is like scary, but you have to have faith and understand that if we don't see it, then we don't know what we're dealing with. In order for us to get clarity, you have to know what's going on. And that way, once you know what's going on, then you know what you have to do moving forward.
But there's also this balance, like you were talking about, people that might not want to know, but you guys might be someone like me out there that I found this within myself. It's like, I feel like it's an addiction. Like, I'm so hungry to find out what's really going on, and not because I know that what I'm being told just on the mainstream just isn't.
It's lies.
It's not the reality of what's really happening. And I know it's not. I know in my soul. So it's like, so I have to find the balance to like, whoa, Misty, okay, you've been on that for 2 hours today. Time to turn it off. Like, it's enough. And because I've also noticed, because there's so much, it's heavy. Like you were saying, the energy is just like, it's so heavy that it actually can bring me down. And so I notice when it affects me, and I have to work to balance, to not go overboard on all the information, because now there's so many platforms where you can get different information, and then you can use your beautiful mind that we're all geniuses out there. We all got brilliant minds to be able to really sit with the data and sit with the information and feel what's right. And what, I just know, I love the book, The Fifth Agreement by Don Lewis. I love the 4 agreements, but the 5th agreement to me is so powerful, which is, I love this, be skeptical.
Yes. Question
everything. Don't believe anything. Don't even believe me. Don't believe my mom. Go do your own research. Like really, literally, like, because most of what people tell you isn't true. And if you read that book, you'll understand what I'm talking about. That really built the skepticism in me, where I'm like, I don't just trust someone just because they say it. And if they say it, what's their intention behind it? And typically it's always follow the money.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Who's making money on it? And so that's just me. That's the kind of person I am. You don't have to be that kind of person. But I just encourage everyone, no matter where you sit with whatever you sit with politically, it doesn't really matter. You know, if you're coming from love, it really doesn't matter. But to actually really put the mindset to use your brilliant mind to be a skeptic, give yourself permission to be skeptical and question everything just for your own sake and see what happens with all of this heaviness. And this was another reason why I wanted to do this, all this heaviness that's going on. And we've got Uranus and Saturn, right?
Mhm.
Just creating some yuck. And I was asking you about that, why, because I've heard that October 1st is a pretty powerful day. The Vatican's up to some stuff or whatever that's
Yes.
got some lines on October 1st, which I found interesting. That's why I asked you what's happening on October 1st. And that's when you told me that's when they go completely squared
Again. For the
again,
fourth time. For the fourth time.
for the fourth time. Now, is there, because do we have a moment of reprieve coming? Is like, when is this yuck that we all know is happening and things are really changing? And you know, change can be really good if we all collectively choose change and choose love, and we choose a different way. But and we have the power is the human race to do this. But what are the energies for the, like, how long are we going to be in this?
It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. And if people think, you know, we're going to go back to normal, we will never go back to the way it was, ever. And it's a matter of adjusting and creating a system where they're talking about these parallel systems, and people aren't asking permission. They're just creating their own small communities, working with local people, finding, and this is what I highly recommend. This is the perfect time to find your local growers. Go out to your, what are they called? Where people go out and sell in parks and stuff, you know, meet your local suppliers, meet your local producers, meet your local, you know, fix-it people and whatever it is, and start creating in your communities parallel societies that we don't ask permission. We stop shopping at the main grocery stores we don't want to buy the dead food. And that's what's really interesting, the genetically modified and the dead food in the grocery stores. When you go in there, you're walking down aisle after aisle of dead food. And so work with the farmers, work with live food, grow your own food, get information on how to do it, build you maybe a little greenhouse out of whatever you can find. And so through the winter, you're growing lettuce and greens and carrots and whatever you need to do to become self-sufficient. Be prepared, because it's like giving birth. Boy, those pains are hard. We're giving birth to a new society. We're giving birth to a new world. And we're right in the labor stage, hard labor. And if you haven't been in labor, you haven't, Misty, but I'm telling you, honey.
You know, walk in the park.
It's damn hard. But once we're able to birth the new, which is what, you know, Uranus is all about, is the new, you know, then things are going to shift. But I don't think we're going to see too much of the new until maybe 2024. You know, so we've got a long ways to go, but this is great because it gives you time to prepare along the way. And that's what you need to be doing. Don't think your government is going to save you. Be independent. Go out and start finding ways to do things. And it's joyful. Like, we garden a lot here at the house, and boy, it's so great to have the harvest. It's so great to, you know, to can and utilize the food that you grow. You know, we're doing a lot of canning this summer and this fall. We've got so many tomatoes, they're coming out our eyeballs, you know, so we're making tomato sauce and ketchup and, you know, tomato juice and all those things, and then storing them. And that's what you want to be doing. And not just for this year, you want to be doing it, you know, for
You're
next year.
absolutely right. And if you're like me and you were a rebellious child that didn't realize the knowledge that your parents had when you were younger, I could literally punch myself in the face for not learning all of the things that my mom knows how to do. When we grew up, she canned, she baked, like hand rolled the bread, baby, like from scratch. everything. She sewed our clothes. Like this woman, she's the Taurus master of the world. She's creating, 7 children. But not just that, the knowledge that's making me think right now, Mom, that you need to start a survival channel. And you
Oh,
need to
God.
teach people. I ain't kidding. This is just coming to me, people, but I think you'd all vote for it. Like, teach me how to can. Teach me how to, your tips and tricks for gardening. And because I'm right now, like what she's saying is like, go out and like, I'm 50 and I'm just now learning how to actually work with the soil and actually grow food, because I'm really paying attention to the future coming, like, inflation coming up and the prices and everything, that we really do need to
It's a
get.
beautiful thing to get your hands in the
Oh,
dirt and to
Mom,
watch.
I love it. This is what I mean. I wish I could learn from you. Like, we had an acre garden growing up. My mom grew everything. We would pick it from the garden and she would cook it. Like,
And it was really
anymore.
fun too. All the kids' friends, we'd have pea picking bees, and all the kids' friends would come to the house, and they'd unhook the pods, and then we would blanch them really fast, boil them, and then we'd put them in cold water, and then we'd dry them off and put them in the freezer. And all the neighborhood kids, even to this day, they find us on Facebook and say, oh, I remember those times. That was so much fun when we would do that. And where you involve your children, they loved it. And we would sing songs and we would do fun stuff, but utilize. And then, I would grow back then like 100 tomato plants, and we had everything we needed, but then I'd open it up for the neighbors or the people from the church and come over and get them. And that's the beauty of these small communities, is we help each other, we give to each other, and
Yeah.
that is so joyful to be able to do things like that, rather than, ooh, do they have enough in the store? And ooh, are they organic? Ooh, how have they been grown? All of those things. We knew everything,
Yeah, it's
and how
beautiful.
to do it.
But then we've come in like, that's how I grew up with my, like that, like gardening and earth, and then ended up living in Los Angeles in an apartment. You'd have no space.
Yeah.
You have, there's no connection to the earth like that, and not just that, but what I realized, and some of you might, that I actually never spoke to my neighbors. Like, it was kind of like you just are in your bubble, you're in your home and you're kind of seclude yourself. You might say hi on the way in or whatever. It's really like a lot of, and I know there's a lot of people like that. Like, you're not close to your neighbors or whatever. But I remember growing up that we knew everyone in the neighborhood. Like, we did.
Yeah.
But this wave, and what's so important about this is that figuring that out, because as things continue to evolve, the most powerful thing you can do and have is self-sufficiency. And it requires, like me, I'm on YouTube constantly trying to learn. Like, I produced my first tomato. I was so excited. Turned red. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Like, I was bursting with joy, and I popped it in my mouth. It tasted so good. I was like, oh my God, like the satisfaction. That's what I mean. Like you said, it is so rewarding and it's so beautiful. And I can't wait, because I'm creating a huge garden in my land right now. And I'm starting to meet all of the local people that grow different things.
There you go.
So it's like, okay, I've got this, you've got that, we've got, like, so that we have a network of people, and we're creating our own little community of people out in the jungle that, we've got food supply, we've got water.
And this is the perfect time. The fall is the perfect time to find those people. And when you find them, pick their brain, find out who's doing what. It's going to come to a time where, you have eggs and they have squash or whatever, and you're trading, and getting what you need. If I'll tell you right now, if I wasn't as old as I am, and if I didn't have some mobility issues, I'd have chickens in a heartbeat. My daughter does. I have a daughter in California who has chickens and ducks and all of that. But, because protein is so valuable at times like this, that you have the protein. So what we've done is pickled eggs. We have jar after jar after jar of pickled eggs so that we have protein. And you can make them all different ways with beets and color them red or jalapenos or dill or.
You're starting a channel, Mom.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. This is gonna go somewhere. This idea just like I could brilliant. Everyone would want to learn from you the things that you
Oh, that would be so
how to
fun.
sew, mom. Teach us how to sew. Like
Yeah.
just
So, and I
but
wanted all of my kids, all of my daughters, I had 6 daughters. I wanted them all to learn how to sew, and not one of them wanted to. And so it was like, okay, I did my best. And now that they're older, now they all want to.
we're all like, please teach us how to do this. I'm sorry I didn't pay attention when I was younger. But these are the skills that
How you
that are
survive.
yeah, and it's but how rewarding they are. It is amazing how different it is, to create something online. That's
Well, when
great.
you have sitting on your counter jar after jar of stuff that you have grown and you have canned, you know, it it's just, you just look at it and you just think, oh, it's so awesome just to see it, you know. Love it,
Yep.
love it. So yeah, self-sufficiency is huge, but it's very, very rewarding. So even if you just have a balcony or someplace or a big window, you can grow tomatoes all year long. They don't need pollinators. You know what pollinates them? Wind or a breeze. And so I grow them in here in the winter all along, and I get tomatoes all the time. I don't even know how they do it, but we get tomatoes all
That
winter, you know? So there are all kinds of things you can do in growing in pots and that kind of thing. So just find ways to do it, because now is the time. Do not put it off. Don't wait. We don't know what's right around the corner. It could be anything. The power could go out, the grids, the money supply could shift. There are just so many things that could happen that are variables. So have what you need. If you have the money, get you a solar generator, so you can keep a fridge or a refrigerator going if the power goes out. There are just a lot of things to think about. Okay. Now, we've got Mercury retrograde coming up in 2 days. Now, it starts out in Libra, and it's going to be retrograde all through to October 2nd. Now, the way the retrograde works is Mercury normally goes really, really fast. It's only in a sign for about 3 weeks. It goes fast, fast, fast. But as it starts to slow down to go retrograde, it starts to dysfunction. And so about a week prior to the retrograde, things start to happen, like Misty's electricity, right? Today. And then the week after the retrograde, it's still dysfunctioning. It's not functioning properly. Okay. And so it takes about a week to be going fast where it's comfortable, which is what they call 40 minutes of arc. So once it gets up past that, then it's going to be comfortable and work properly. So through the retrograde, you're going to have travel issues. There are going to be delays. There are going to be problems with communication. The retrograde is a time for you to reassess things, not jump into something new. You want to sit back, you want to pull in, and you want to go, okay, how have things gone? Reassess what's gone on in the brief past, reassess what's going on now, and reassess what you can see happening in the future. Okay. We're getting clues all the time about what they're planning and wanting to do. So don't just go lickety split into something. Stop, slow down, reassess, rethink things, create the plans, but don't start the plans until like mid-October. Okay. Or at least, like the 10th or something, the 8th or the 10th of October.
we're not talking about gardening. Just
No,
get started.
but you can do, like, a friend of mine got an old door with a glass lid, the glass in the door, and she built a little thing like that, and she can take that door and put it down over all of her vegetables, and the sun comes in and warms it, and then if it gets too hot in the afternoon, she just lifts the lid a little bit, and she grows her lettuce all winter long, lettuce and carrots and beets and all of those things. So yes, and you don't have to have pristine stuff. And another person that I love to listen to on YouTube is called, her name is Girl in the Woods. Love, love, love her. Excuse me. She was on the show Alone. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Mm-mm.
Alone was when they took people, and I think, can't think of the channel, but anyway, took people that they could take like 5 items, and they took them out to outer Mongolia, and they had to survive. And they had teams. And she got so skinny, but she was so good at everything. They ran out of fish. They couldn't do it anymore, and she had to quit. But she is a survivalist. She's a prepper. And I have learned so many things from watching her videos on YouTube. So she's one I would she's built her own cabins by herself. You know, she's just marvelous. And I know she's a Sagittarius. Girl in the Woods. Yeah, you'll really like her. And she's very sweet. She's spiritual. She loves her animals, and she knows what she's doing. She goes in and clears the land. I mean, I've just learned so much about, you know, being prepared, the things you need that can be very simple. One of them I'll just tell you that I found to be just, oh my God, I'm doing that. And those are 5-gallon bucket toilets. Okay. So you get the 5-gallon bucket, and you can buy the lids that go on top of them, toilet seats. And then you don't need water. What you want is sawdust. Okay. So you use it, you take the sawdust and cover it. There's no smell. The sawdust covers the smell. You don't need any water. Then you use it again. You put more sawdust in there.
Those are those composting toilets.
Composting toilets that you can make out of a 5-gallon bucket. Now, we live in a house here that's on a well. If the power goes out, you know, we lose water. So I wanted to have something in abeyance. So if we didn't have water to flush toilets, that we could all use, and it would be simple. And then you just compost, you know, the waste and start over again. But I mean, just simple things like that she teaches you, you know. Powerful.
Things you just wouldn't think of.
Now,
But
let me tell you about this Mercury retrograde, though. It starts out in Libra.
what does that mean? What is it? How does that alter its energy because it's in Libra?
Well, you know what Libra energies are like. They're about diplomacy and about fairness and justice and balance and that kind of thing. And so it's going to retrograde back into Virgo. Now, Mercury is the ruler of Virgo. And so it's much more powerful actually in Virgo than it is in Libra. But when it's in Virgo, it's communicating about the things that Virgo's all about, which is service. Okay. It's about details and about food and diet, what the foods do to our bodies, like using herbs and things to make medicines and all of that kind of stuff. Virgo is really good about the technique of diet and how the foods work in the body. So it's going to retrograde back into there. And then when it ends the retrograde on the 2nd, then it slows down. And that's when it's really tough, right at the beginning of the retrograde and right at the end, because it's virtually standing still. And then it's going to move back through Virgo again, cover all that territory again, and then it's going to move back into Libra. So utilize those energies. Now, the other thing about Virgo is Virgo's about getting to the truth of things, bottom line, you know, what's really going on. And because of that, the energies are going to be fettering out the truth of things. Virgo wants the truth and communication about what's really true. And that's one of the reasons that I know September is, there's going to be so many things coming out that people didn't know that we're going to have to, you know, adjust to. Adjustments will have to be made. So that's basically the crux. Now, all the time that Mercury is going back and then forward again, it's aspecting like Pluto, it's aspecting like Saturn, it's aspecting Uranus, it's aspecting Venus, you know, so it's actually triggering certain types of communication depending on the planet that it aspects. So if it's aspecting Mars, it's going to be aggression. If it's aspecting Saturn, it's going to be government and the old. If it's aspecting Uranus, it's going to be the new and freedom. You see what I'm saying? So all during that, it's going back and forth, and then you're getting the Virgo energy, which is the truth. What is the bottom line? Okay. And that's why it's so important. Now, we already have all of the heavy hitter planets right now are retrograde. All of them. There are 5 of them. We've got Pluto, Neptune, Saturn, Uranus, and also, what's the other one? Jupiter. All of those planets are retrograde right now. That's a lot of heavy, powerful energy. And of course, that's what we're all feeling. But then on the 9th, we have one more. Mercury goes retrograde. That's 6 retrograde planets
At one time.
at one time. And that's heavy, heavy energy. So, and everything kind of slows down. You see what I mean? It's slow, everything slows down. And it isn't moving fast. It's like slowing down in their challenging aspects of what's going on in the planet. It's just like, you know, plodding through mud. That's what we've been doing with all these retrograde planets. We're just plodding through mud. And then Mercury comes in and says, okay, we're going to fetter this out, and we're going to fetter that, and we're going to, you know, make these changes. The other thing that's happening that is important and also powerful is Mars is slowing down. It's in Gemini. And of course, Gemini loves to be fast. You know, it's very curious energy and it loves to be fast. But it goes retrograde. Actually, let me get you the date. It goes retrograde on October 30th. But right now it's going half speed already in September. And it's going to go. And normally Mars is in a sign for, you know, maybe 6 weeks, you know. But when it's retrograde in a sign, it's there for 6 to 7 months.
Oh,
So
and
Mars
of aggression, right? Yeah. What are the other aspects of Mars?
Well, it's vitriol, it's anger, it's war, you know, it means all of those things. It's the outward energy. So as a person, wherever your Mars is, that's what you're really aggressive about in your chart, see? And so, yeah, there's going to be, and Gemini is a wild card in a sense, because it doesn't care about the outcome. It's just, it has to be busy all the time. You know, where like it was in Taurus before, and Taurus cares about the outcome. You know, how are things going to work out, and how practical and usable are they going to be? You know, also about the food supplies and all of that stuff, the food chains, you know, supply chains, all of that was part of the Taurus thing. Uranus in Taurus is still, you know, working with that energy as well. But when it goes into Gemini, it is in Gemini now, and goes retrograde in Gemini. And it'd be interesting to find out in your own chart where it goes retrograde, because that's going to be a really aggressive place for you. But, you know, everything is going to be about curiosity. Let's find out what's going on here. Oh my gosh, there's the data there. We're going to disseminate that data. Oh, but look over here. There's more stuff going on over here. So when you're dealing with Gemini, you're not dealing with a straight line. It's an air sign. It's just all over the place. And so Mars in Gemini is going to be all over the place. Okay. And communication about stuff is going to be, how do I put it? Voluminous.
Voluminous, that's a great word.
Yes. Okay. But when it's there also, you know, the zigzag, what you want to do is be careful not to waste your energy, because Gemini can do that. It goes off into tangents about things and it can waste your energy. So keep keep your power. When you get too emotionally involved in things, you give away your power. And this is what I've been trying to teach people. Emotion sometimes is not your friend. Because when you get emotionally involved in something, you give away your power to it. If you can stay neutral and not give away your power and stay balanced and hold your power inside, that's so much better for you. If you cannot change it, then don't give your power to it. And a lot of these things happening in the world are out of our control. And there's no stopping them, actually, when you deal with the planets. There's no stopping the shifts that are being made for our benefit, long-term benefit. It may not seem like it at the time. And so you want to be very careful about what you do with your power. Don't give it away. If you can't change it, keep it. And work. Spend your energy, your emotional energy on your home and growing food and being prepared and being creative, helping each other with love and all those. That's where you want to put your emotion, not in all the third dimensional vitriol and the war and all that stuff. You can't control any of it, no matter how angry you get.
Can't do anything about it.
Do anything about it. So just go, you see it, okay, you get it, and then you move on. And you don't invest in it emotionally. So, but with Mars and Gemini, it's going to be zigzagging, kind of all over the place.
Be a little wild ride.
Right. But during the time that Mars is retrograde, all of the other planets are literally, by the time Mars gets out, there's not going to be any retrogrades at all. And that's highly unusual. There's a period of time where all the planets are moving fast and there are no retrogrades at all. That's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. The other thing that people need to be aware of are the energy issues. Now, I'm working with a gal, and I've done several videos with a gal in Berlin, Germany. Her name is Judith, and she does a thing called Night Flight. And so I've been doing videos with her, and I got an email from her yesterday. She says it started. She said, Europe is in a free fall. And apparently what's happened is that Putin will not reopen the gas lines into Europe and into Germany until the United States stops the sanctions. And she said, I've not liked US politics. She says, now I hate them. They're destroying Europe. And so what they're expecting is by like January, just the cost of heating your home will be like over $1,000 a month. People can't afford it. They don't have the money. They're going to freeze to death over the winter.
And this is also what's so crazy, because they're talking about get electric cars, but it's going to cost you $100 to charge that car.
Yeah.
Because where does it come from? It's electricity. Like, it comes from natural gas. It comes from
exactly.
Like the whole thing is just,
it's crazy. Where does that electricity come from? What produces that electricity?
It's all like you had, whether it's natural gas, like not all of it, but the majority of it. And then, it's just,
and I truly
search, you find out some different information.
Right. I truly believe that we need to take care of our planet. But, to go through and say, okay, we're completely switching everything by 2030, it's not enough time to create usable and workable solutions for people. They know this. They know this. So in terms of preparedness, what are you going to do to keep yourself warm? We fortunately, when we moved here, we got a home that has a wood burning stove that in the winter it heats almost the entire house. So we know, as long as we've got wood, and we've got wood all over the place here in a vacant property next to us, we'll have plenty of wood. But the point is, what are you going to do? How are you going to heat your home? Now, I've seen some really cool things on YouTube using tea lights with those clay pots. and you use a tea light and it radiates heat. So, you know, just do a Google search. How do you heat your house with, you know, clay pots? What are some cool ideas as to how to heat your home? And also how to cook. What are you going to do if there's no electricity to use your stove? You need to be thinking about things like that.
I know, and it sounds really, it's hard to go like, ah, we're not gonna, we're not gonna like, we're not gonna, it's impossible. We're not gonna like, we're not gonna turn off the electricity. They're not gonna, do you know what I mean? Like, it's really, but when you really dive into what actually is really happening, this is a very much a possibility.
And yeah, and what's going on in Europe, I'm telling you, this winter, people are going to be dying. This one person talked about, she also sent me some articles from the United Kingdom about it. She wasn't just telling me about it, she sent me, you know, articles about it. And this one guy, he said his mother owns a business and she pays about $12,000 a year for the power for her business, and it will be going up to about $65,000 a year. And there's no way she can afford it, so she's going to go out of business. So this energy issue is huge, and this has to do with Neptune, the planet Neptune. And we've been talking about the energies of Neptune, which has to do with the oil and gas reserves and all of that. And and Neptune is retrograde, has to do with the gas prices and all of that, and we've seen what's been going on with that. And so right now, energy is a political football. And and trust me, I see both sides of the war. I see both sides of what's going on, and what Putin is doing, and I see what Ukraine is doing. And, you know, war is horrible, but Putin is using, you know, his reserves as a political football to try and impact Biden's sanctions. So it's going to be interesting how that all plays out too. We don't know. We don't know, but when people are dying and they can't pay $1,000, you know, heating bill, then what are you going to do? You look at old people on fixed incomes, what are they going to do? You know, they die in their homes, they freeze to death. So there's a lot of that stuff. So you be proactive, find ways to generate heat that are not dangerous, you know, not going to burn your house down, you know, but that you'll get some heat in your house. So just be prepared for that. But it's crazy stuff that's happening. Now,
So it's the time to educate yourself.
right.
Educate and evolve.
Yeah.
Like, educate and evolve and prepare. And it really, the thing that feels to me is that we're having to go back to the tribe.
Yeah.
Small communities that support each other and sustain each other, which we did for thousands of years before we invented these big major cities. It was tribal living, it was community living, and you know, everyone helps take care of everybody, and you've got people that do everything. You know, if someone does something in there, you know, you've got someone that can build, you've got someone that grows, you've got someone that knows things about water. This is what I'm working on where I live right now, is really getting to know and the people that are there and the people that
bartering is huge right now. Developing these communities where you can barter. This one lady who was a teacher, okay, and she bartered with people in the community, in her community, to teach their children if these people would do XYZ for her. So she was homeschooling, because so many people are pulling their kids out of these insane public schools in the United States. They're pulling their kids out, and you're going to need teachers, you know, you're going to need all kinds of stuff, and figure out how to do it. There's not, you know, and frankly, I think it's joyous when you figure it out and you go, I don't need you. I don't need all you. I don't
Well,
need.
and another thing is that that hits me a lot is that we rely so much on the internet. We can learn anything we want. It's at our fingertips.
Yep.
You literally can learn from fixing a car to building something that could hurt somebody. Like, you can literally learn how to do anything online. Like, it's university free,
Yeah.
basically. However, what scares me is that the electricity goes out, the internet goes out.
Yes, it does.
we don't have access. This is, as someone brought this to my attention, it was really interesting. They're like, 5 books. How many books do we have now? Because everything's online. We all got our Kindle, we all got our thing, and we don't act like buying books, information, like gardening books, you know, cooking books,
Serving books, canning books, prepping
books
books.
that teach you, because if something were to happen and you didn't have access to the internet, like we rely on it for everything. And we really don't know, like, then what do you really know? It's all just, I rely on YouTube for everything, and I'm so grateful for it that I can go and absorb all this information. But if I didn't have access to that, I'd be crippled,
Yeah.
because I don't know this information. I don't have books, and it was a real eye opener for me. So now it's like I'm starting to order books that I know that has information. Like I've got one about all the plants that I thought would be really important.
Herbs and things.
Jungle. And so I need to know what all these plants are. And I
and
can just take a photo of it and it goes and shows me what the plant is. But what if that doesn't function? I need to know, what plants in the jungle kill you and what plants in the jungle heal you. Like,
right.
So this is what I mean. It's thinking
And
about that.
I'm worried about the young people because they've grown up with their phones right here. And when it comes down to being self-sufficient, they haven't a clue. They have not a clue. And they're the ones that are really going to struggle. And, we need to have youth support groups, helping these kids learn how to grow their food, learn how to cook, learn how to do their laundry, learn how to take care of their animals, learn the importance of all of those things, and help each other. Because I think those kinds of times are coming also, that these young people, and frankly, it would be really good for them not to have their phones for a while.
It's really, there's a school here that it's awesome. There's several schools here. There's an international school and they speak like 4 or 5 languages at the school. The kids learn multiple languages. The kids have to grow all their own food. The kids prepare the food for their lunch. Like, you talk about empowering young people.
Mhm.
Like, there's one room where the computers are and they have to work in groups together, learning how to work together on projects. There's like one computer for like 5 people. So they have to learn how to, but they're in charge of cooking the food, washing the dishes, growing like that to me is like, God, these like 6, 7, 8-year-old kids know how to grow vegetables and know how to prepare them, know how to, like, that's the kind of information.
That's what we need to be doing in this country. And not teaching gender things, but teaching survival techniques. Doesn't matter what fucking gender you are, if you don't know how to live, if you don't know how to survive, what difference does that other stuff mean? You want to teach.
That's part of the
part of the whole,
it's trying to give us something to fight for and be offended by, and we all need to be offended by everything, and that we're all just awful, terrible, racist people, that whatever. And it's like, that's not actually how it is. Like, and they want to keep us distracted in this so that we're not paying attention to actually what really matters, what's really important.
And you people out there with children who are listening to this, get them to put the phones down and start training them about what's really important. And if they see you do it, then they're going to learn from it, and then you get some leverage. If you want your phone, then you're going to learn how to do this. If you want those privileges, then I need you to help me cook dinner. There are all kinds of things you can do, and get them, the younger you get them, the better.
Yeah, because it's really like, we have really no idea what it must be like to literally grow up with a device in your hand. Because like, for us, most of us, if you're a parent or whatever, I'm 50.
Yeah.
Like, we were lucky if we got to watch one show a night. You know what I mean? We had our chores, we had the things we had to do, like your nights for the night for the dishes, whatever. And then we might get to watch a TV show before we go to bed.
Yeah. And then homework.
There was no anything like this, but I can only imagine, because a lot of parents use the devices as babysitters. Like, keeps the kid occupied, gives you your time. And that's okay too. Like sometimes you need a break and you're like, okay, this is an easy out, but then it sometimes can become too easy.
Yeah.
I'm not a parent, so I can't really, I have really should shut up because I don't have kids and I don't know what that's like. And I only know that it's the most toughest job you could possibly have and the most rewarding, but I also know it's difficult. That's why I haven't done
Hardest job on the planet is being a parent.
being a parent. And so I can't imagine like, telling people to, hey, put your phone down. That's really difficult, but it's you as a parent individually, just diving deep inside of yourself and doing, researching what and make the changes you need to make, whatever they are for you, for your family's health, for your own vitality, whatever that looks like,
Yeah. Well, and I think for parents right now in neighborhoods is start a survival school. You don't need anybody's permission to do that. Start a neighborhood survival school. Get people in the area who know about stuff like that and start teaching people, young people, even the adults who aren't aware. But start stuff like this. Now is the time to do it, before things might completely fall apart and then it's too late. So now's the time to do things like that. Like you were talking to me about doing a canning and cooking and, saying, do survival classes. Find in your neighborhood. Once you get out there and start talking to people in your community, start putting forth ideas, and then the people who want to will come, and then you'll make a difference. That's how you're going to be making a difference. Okay. That and prayer. Trust me, prayer does help a lot. So now let's quickly talk about this full moon on the 10th. And one of the things about this full moon is it's not as, fireworks as some of the other moons have been recently. So there isn't as much to talk about it. It's the Mercury retrograde is more important. The slowing down of Mars is more important. The Uranus Saturn square is more important. What this moon is, it's in a mutable sign. It's in Virgo, Pisces. I think it's Pisces, Virgo. But what you want to do, those mutable signs are about teaching people, learning new things, and entertaining new ideas. That's what mutable signs do. They're mutable people are teachable people. Okay. And the other thing is that the moon is also conjunct Neptune. Now, that's a really good thing. Neptune is about spiritual growth. It's also about creativity and imagination. So this moon time with the Mercury retrograde is a wonderful time to come up with good ideas. That's really the blessing of this particular moon, is advancement. This is a time to really work on your meditations, really work on your connection with the God of your understanding, and ask for guidance as you prepare for what may come. You want to really connect. I think that's so important. And then use your imagination. Another really important thing to do. So, we've got moons that are a lot more, oh my God, coming up that are much more dramatic. And so
got two eclipses in
two
October.
eclipses coming up, one in late October, one in November. Sorry about my cat. He's very vocal. It's not a baby crying. It's my cat wanting everybody to know he's here. Anyway, so honor the moon by honoring your spirit, by honoring your imagination. Okay. And
Sounds like the perfect combination. You're saying, like, as it's coming this full moon and Mercury in retrograde, is this it's time for us to slow down,
slow down,
assess, and
everything.
And then with the moon, it's this spiritual, it's reconnecting to ourselves, more spiritual growth. So they kind of work together,
They do. They really do. And everybody needs kind of a little break. But this is the perfect time to get out and talk to people in your communities. really a good time. Get ideas,
Yeah.
share your thoughts, see what people are doing. Go on YouTube and look at Girl in the Woods, and her husband is called Bush Radical, and they build things together, and they even show you how to do your own well, stuff like that, how to make an outhouse. I mean, just fun, interesting, but maybe very important ideas, you know.
Not bad information to have.
I know, but later in the month, things are going to heat up even more. So use this time right now to just rethink everything, you know, and don't get all caught up in the vitriol. Keep your power, and connect with your spirit and your imagination and connect with local people. And then you're doing something that's really valuable.
Awesome. So we've kept you guys for a long time. So thank you for all that information. That was a lot. But hopefully you guys got something from that. And two things: chill out, reconnect to yourself through this time, these next little bits, while these energies are working on that, or while the energies are moving, and learn new things, open yourself up to community and, learning
And new
things.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, meet new people and things that might help you. Start to prepare. Don't freak out.
Yeah.
Don't, because it's hard. I'm one of them. It's hard for me not to go gloom and doom. Like, oh my God, the sky is falling. Oh my God, we're all gonna die. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I have to go, okay, wait. Like, not like you said, not give it my power. And the best thing I can do is know what's going on and then take powerful action to myself and what I need to do.
And I want to share this powerful prayer idea. Now, when you pray to the God of your understanding. It doesn't need to be any particular thing. You can say creator or universe, whatever you want to say. But I use this, and I've used it most of my life, and I've used it with my kids, which is thank you, God, for. Now, if you're wanting to know how to prepare and to meet people, thank you, God, for helping me connect with the right people for what I need right now. Thank you, God, for showing me how to prepare. Thank you, God, for helping me to understand what my family and I need to do. These are powerful prayers that you can be saying all day long. They're gratitude prayers, and it's a wonderful form of prayer. And when you say, thank you, God, whatever your concept is, it's like you're thanking God as though it's already been done for you. Okay. Thank you, God, for having done this for me. Thank you for leading me to the right people that can help me, so figure out what it is you want to thank God for. And then all day long, what your needs are, you're saying, thank you, God, for doing that for me.
Yeah. And another way, like if the word God triggers you in any way, right? Another way, because like she said, it's putting yourself into the frequency, the feeling of it already being done. The way that I like to do it, because I have my own, right? Like my mom, I come from my mom, but we all have our own understanding of what we feel, the God of our understanding. So what I like to do is it feels so good to be surrounded by the people that I need in my life. I feel how good it feels as it's happening. It feels so good to get the information that I need when I need it. It feels so good to be supported. And then you can feel how good it feels when it does. It feels so good to feel good. It feels so good to be, it feels so good to be inspired.
Yeah.
So
feeling those feelings is really important.
Right. That's what I mean. So like, this is what I mean. There's different ways to do it. If that, you know what I mean? Like, I love to just sit and go, it feels so good to have the support that I need in my life.
Yeah, to know this is being done. Yeah.
That I have all that I need, that, and then of course I add thank you in there. But for me, I charge it up with how good it feels to have it.
Wonderful.
Right. And then I feel the frequency of the goodness of how good it feels before I give the thank you. But however you guys want to do it, it's like, that's what works for my mom. This is what works for me.
Right.
I mean, you find the thing, but find the thing that connects you with whatever it is that allows all this to be.
Mhm.
whatever made all this, whatever miracle that is allowing us to even exist and have these bodies, you know, life, love, God, whatever it is, like you said, your understanding, and make a connection with that. And um, and a hard part is to learning to trust it.
Yes, trust it.
Trust and have faith that whatever created you loves you
Mhm.
and has made you not has made you to succeed. And I always like to think that life's got my back.
Yes.
Life's got my back.
I
Like
love life and life loves me.
life loves me and life's got my back. And life loves to shower me with
Yes.
abundance and everything that I need. And so I love the way that that feels when I say that, because then my body, like I can feel like it's just awesome how it feels when I say it. That's why sometimes I just feel like it feels so good to feel good.
Yeah.
Like as simple as that. And that's something, those are things I have to do, like after I do a negative dose of media that brings me down into fear, into terror, into scare, and in panic. I have to go into that. I have to do the reverse. Like I have to do
Yes,
practice.
absolutely. It's the balance.
Yeah.
You know,
To bring,
balance is so important. Yeah.
balance.
No,
So think about that. If you're like me and you OD on social media and the gloom and doom of what's happening in the world, find your balance. Make sure you're doing stuff that balances that out and rectifies you and brings you back into your
and
own.
don't hesitate to write in the comments what your feelings are and what you're doing. What are you doing
Yeah.
that's helpful? Because other people like to read those and it gives us good ideas. We get good ideas from each other. So feel free to do that.
Yeah. Because no one has all the answers, but we're here to help each other, right? We're here to help
All
each other.
right, love.
Really quick again, you guys, again, like this is global stuff, but the impact is like really, if you want to go deep, I would get a live reading with my mom. You can contact her through her website, through Facebook, through Instagram. And you said you're running a special on that?
Right. The life reading is on sale. Yes.
Readings what's up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll have the links below the video.
Okay. And you
Okay.
guys, again, follow, share, like, it helps, helps us grow and get this information out to more people. So thanks for being with us. Thank you, Mom. We'll see you guys in our next episode of A Chit Chat with my
Yeah.
Mom.
Love all of you. Bye-bye.